welcome to my show Indus Cuisine. I'm your chef Basim Akhund. We're back with another new episode and a new recipe from the heart of Pakistan. Today's recipe is very easy and it's loved throughout Pakistan, especially wherever you see Pakistanis living through the world, they will have had cooked this at least once and eaten it a couple of times in their life. We're making the Mughlai Pulao. The name says it also that it's from the Mughal Empire, but its history dates back even before that to the Persian Empire. So this recipe was even mentioned in the famous Avicenna, also known as Ibn Sina's medical book, where he had a whole chapter on pulaus, also known as pilaf in the West. So this recipe, pulao, is known as pilaf in Spain, and it traveled from the subcontinent back in the day, and now different variations of this recipe is made. But today's recipe, because it's made in Pakistan, has a lot of aromatic spices in it, which will bring out the flavor of the recipe, and we're using chicken today. But remember, whenever you're using chicken for this recipe, it's preferable that you use chicken legs and chicken thigh. But if you like the white meat also of the chicken, you can use that, but this part would bring more flavor, as this part of the animal, of the bird, has a little extra fat. So what are the ingredients of today's recipe? Let's give you a quick rundown. You need some butter, around 3 to 4 tablespoons, around 6 to 8 tablespoons of oil. You need some cloves, cinnamon sticks, cumin seeds. You need around some coriander powder, peppercorns around 10 to 15 pieces whole. You need around 5 to 6 pieces of green cardamom. Then you need some star anise, which will bring out the flavor. You need red chili powder. You need salt, ginger, garlic shredded. Then you need some bay leaf. Dry fruits, you'll be using almonds and cashews. And last but not the least, you need around 1 kg of chicken. You need around 3 cups of rice, which should be soaked at least for 30 minutes. I'm still soaking it in front of you. Around 3 onions, which we will brown in the oil, because that's where the color is going to come out. And you need some raisins, also known as kishmish in our language. Okay, this recipe is very easy, but you need to know the difference between a biryani and a pulao. So what is a pulao? Pulao is a recipe in which you cook the rice in the same water in which the chicken is boiling, basically. So you need the chicken stock and you dry it down and then you serve it. In biryani, you boil the rice separately and then you mix it in the masala. So follow this step by step, and this is 10 times easier than a biryani. Why? Because it's made through one pot cooking, not in 2 different pots, or it doesn't have 3 different layers of rice, masala, and then onions in it. It goes in hand. And if you're starting to make rice recipes, this is a good way to start off, because this can never go wrong if you follow the simple tips and the simple procedures I'm letting you know in today's recipe. Okay, so what do you need first? You need a pan. It should be hot. So what I'll do is first I'll add oil. Remember, I add oil and butter together. Why? Because if you just add butter separately, butter starts burning. So if you add oil and butter and mix it together, the oil wouldn't let the butter burn. So I'll add the oil first. And the pan isn't hot, so when the pan comes to heat, what I'll do is I'll add some spices. But before that, what you need to do is let the oil get a bit hot. So I'll just make the stove a little higher, around low heat, not even medium. Why? Because we need to slice the onions. So I'll take around 3 onions. This recipe is very important and for Pakistani households. And remember, whenever you're cooking this recipe, you need to use red onions. Why? Because we need the flavor of the red onions, not the white onions. Red onions are a bit stronger, so that's what we enjoy. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to cut the onions really thin. So we'll chop the onions finely, as fine as you can go. And if you're new at cooking, try reducing your speed, because precision matters more. The root goes in the dustbin, then the other part. So what we'll do is we'll cut all the onions one after the other. Always remember, for this recipe you need red onions. Keep your board clean. If you have a nut allergy, it's very important that I'm telling you, you can not use the nuts and you can just replace it with raisins. If you do not like raisins even, you can keep these 3 ingredients out and you will be completely fine. This goes on the side. So once the onions are done, what we'll do is we'll add the onions to the wok. We're using a wok today. In Pakistani households, you call it a patila, a big pot in which you cook everything. Someone was telling me that usually in Pakistani cooking, we use oil in terms of cups. Like if we're making pulao, we're using around 2 cups of oil or 1.5 cups. And they're like, why is it so? The reason is when Pakistanis cook in their houses, it's very important to realize that the equipment you're using is of good quality. If you're using low quality pots and pans, what happens is your food starts sticking. So what do women do in Pakistan is they increase the oil. So if you're using proper things for cooking, for example, the one I'm using right now is granite coated, what will happen is you will need lesser oil. Why? Because the things won't stick. So this much of onion is enough because some of the onion was big, some was small. So I'll put this on the side, the roots go on the side. The oil is hot. Now what you'll do is, first of all, you'll add some butter into it. So I'll add the butter. First you have to melt the butter. Once the butter has melted, then you'll add the onions. Smells delicious. Okay, now the butter is melting, so now you can start adding the onions into it. So for this recipe, you need to make the onions brown, not translucent. Remember that. But do not put the heat on full. You'll take the heat to medium-low and let it cook on slow heat with a lid on so that it gets soft from inside and gets a nice brown coating on the outside. That's where the flavor is going to come from. Mix it. Try coating each part of the onion with the butter oil mixture. I'll add around a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. You need to salt to taste. Now it depends what's your level of salt used in your house. Usually in Pakistan we use around 1.5 teaspoons for the whole recipe. So I'll start off with 1/4 and then I'll start increasing it as I add the ingredients in it. Okay. So till the time this is cooking, what we'll do is we'll add some spices to bring the flavor out. So first goes in the cumin. We add the cumin seeds. Why? Because right now the oil and the butter is up. So what will happen is it will get this nice frying effect. Then you can add the bay leaves. The bay leaves are in. And then you will add some black peppercorn. So now these ingredients will fry with the onions and it will enhance the flavor, the aroma of the recipe. You also need around 2 liters of water, or it depends on the size. I'll let you know how to measure the water. Okay, just clean the board once, keep this on the side, and now what we need to do is we need some shredded ginger and garlic. So this is the ginger and we have around 8 to 7 cloves of garlic. So what we'll do is first we'll go in with the garlic, finely shred it. Leave the end part on the side. Why? Because you do not want to hurt yourself. That is very important. Please remember that, because if you start going too close to the blade, it can slip and your hand can get hurt, and when you're using a shredder it hurts a lot, trust me. Slowly and gradually. And the end part of the garlic goes in the dustbin. We shall not use it. Okay, so the garlic is done. First of all, I'll keep my counter clean, so I'll just lift this up, throw it in the dustbin and just shake it once. You can see the garlic's over here. Now I'll just start grinding the ginger slowly and gradually. If the ginger starts slipping, just change the angle. And this is done. Okay, so now whatever you don't need, keep it on the side. Just take a tissue paper out and just clean your hands once. Okay, let's go see the onions right now, and first give this a shake. You don't need this anymore. This goes on the side. Now the onions are browning. Mix it up. And now add the ginger and garlic to this. So I'll keep this over the grill. It's completely clean. First goes in the garlic, then goes in the ginger. Mix it up well. Give it a lid. And reduce the heat to really low. Why? Because I want the onions to go brown very, very slowly. Okay, so now what you need to do is you need to change the board, switch the board. So I'll keep this board on the side. I'll take a red board. Why? Because now I need to start using the chicken for this recipe. So first of all, what you'll do is take the chicken legs, keep them over here. Now you need the chicken thighs. Try keeping it in the sink. Okay, now take a small paring knife. It should be very clean. First we use the chicken legs. What I'll do is, it's a round leg. One side I'll give it a cut till I hit the bone, and on the other side over here I'll give it a cut. Now what will happen is it will quickly cook, and the other thing is the chicken will be soft and juicy and the flavor is going to seep till the center. So just keep doing this. You need to properly treat the meat, remember that. One over here and one over here, that's it. So now the thigh piece, there's a bone in between. What you'll do is 1, 2 cuts till you hit the bone, and on the back 1 cut, that's it. Again 1 and 2, and then 1 cut in the end. So this is what you need to do so that the chicken starts getting really tender, soft and juicy, and it absorbs all the flavor inside. I just need to rinse my hands once. Okay, now you go back to the spices. As you can see, the onions are browning. Now what you'll do is increase the heat to high. And start adding the meat in it. So first I'll add the thigh pieces on one side. Now try putting in the leg pieces. Cook it for 1 minute each side till the time this is cooking. We'll go for a short break. Keep watching Indus Cuisine. Welcome back. You're watching Indus Cuisine and I'm your chef Basim Akhund. During the break, I just did one thing. That one thing was I just changed the side, and as you can see, the chicken is nicely brown. It's only 50% done. And you can see these bubbles over here. These bubbles are actually the chicken fat that's actually coming out in the oil and the butter, and this is where the real flavor, real goodness comes in. Just what you need to do now is like move it on the side, and you can see the onions are properly brown. So what I'll do now is I'll add some spices. First we'll add the cinnamon in the oil. Why? Because when the cinnamon will fry in the oil and in the butter mixture, the flavor is going to be really nice. Then you'll add some cloves. Then you shall add some star anise. Okay, now whenever you're adding green cardamom, what you need to do is, first of all, you need to split it. So what you'll do is you'll take 1 piece each, hit it, and then I'll tell you why am I doing this. Now you'll see that the pod is opening and the flavor is going to enhance, so add it over here. And now just add a little bit of water for now, not too much, around half a cup. Mix it up. Only half a cup of water, not too much. Why? I'll tell you why. Because the spices and the flavor which is sticking to the bottom of the pan is the glaze you want to reincorporate. So when you add half a cup of water, you can see now the water is getting brown. What I'll do is I'll increase the heat to full and cook it for around 1 minute on high heat. Okay, so increase it to full and just see the heat is being spread properly, and let it cook for 1 minute on high heat. Till the time that is cooking, what we'll do is we'll take half of the almonds, not all of them, and I will finely chop them. So whenever you're chopping the almond, your knife needs to be very fine. Slowly and gradually just chop the almonds. Keep it really close and always keep your eye contact. Why? Because you don't want the almond to slip and your finger to come in between. Now when you put the almonds like this, it will add more flavor. Why? Because once the almond breaks, the almond oil, which actually comes out from the dry fruit, will be mixed while it's cooking. And now the last piece. Okay, so now the almonds go in, the broken almonds, or you can also say the shaved almonds. Mix it up. The chicken is cooking, just turn it once more. Give the other side like another 2 minutes of high heat and high boiling. I love the smell. Okay, now what you need to do is same thing goes with the cashews. You can pound them in a pestle and mortar also, but what I prefer is I like doing it like this. Why? Because it gives you a proper texture. Cashews are easier as they're softer. So just chop the cashews also. Give it a look over here. You don't want it to stick. Keep the lid on. Why? Because we're controlling the heat, we're controlling the evaporation. Remember that. Because if I take the lid off, within 2 minutes, the water you've put in will evaporate and the chicken won't get time to cook properly. So now the cashews go in. Pass the knife once more like this. Take the lid off. Keep it here. Spread it out. Mix it up once. Okay, so I'll mix it. As you can see, the chicken is almost 70% done. Now you're thinking that we need to add the rice also. But before that, you need to add a few spices. Okay, salt, I just added quarter teaspoon. You need to add half a teaspoon more. Spread it out. And keep it on the side for later. Now you'll add some spice to it. Keep this on the side. Some red chili powder, not too much. Only a bit because this will boil and enhance its flavor with the rice. Now mix it up properly. Take this, reduce the heat to, let's say, low right now. You can see it's like delicious and thick. What I'll do is I'll just taste it a bit. Now what you need to do is now you need to bring the pan to heat, like really hot. And first of all, add the rice. Okay, so I've kept it in water. Drain this out slowly. Try saving the rice and do not waste it. Now put the rice over here. Scoop it out. Do not waste it. Now what I'll do is I'll just mix it a bit once so that the rice gets a nice color to it. This is done. Now you need to top it up with water. The pan is hot. Add water. Now what I did was I added around 1 liter of water. That's it. Push it forward. Move it. Now what you have to do is pick the chicken pieces. I'll have to show it to you like this. Pick the chicken pieces. Reduce the heat. It's too high right now. Okay. Bring the pan in between. The pieces will be picked up. Keep it on top. Why? Because then the rice will hit the bottom and that's what you want. Bring it to heat properly. Keep this over here. Now add the raisins, the remaining cashews, the remaining almonds. You don't need these, keep them on the side. Give it a lid. And now let it boil till the time the water dries out. So till this is cooking, what I'll do is I'll clean up and get ready to dish it out for you. So I've given the pulao around 10 to 12 minutes. Now let me show you what's the sign of the pulao being cooked. So now you take the lid off, take a spatula you were using, take the back end of it and just push it through the rice. Now if you see there's water at the bottom, which there is not, that means the rice is completely cooked. So what I'll do is I'll keep this in the sink and now we'll start dishing it out. So what you need to do is like switch it off, let it be there for 2 minutes and we need to start preparing the garnish. So first what you need is you need some mint leaves. And I will just turn it around 5 to 10 pieces only and finally chop it. It needs to be really fine. Why? Because I'll tell you. Keep it on the side. Now take the cashews. I've taken around 10-15 more cashews for the dressing on top, for the decoration part, and also because people like it in Pakistan. We will just pass the knife roughly through them because we do not want them to be really fine. Turn them around and keep chopping them till the time they're really minute. When the nut is whole, you will slowly chop it. When the nut gets really fine, then you can chop it fast. Now, what is the reason that I'm not doing it really fast? The reason is that if you will do it really fast and the nut is whole, if the knife slips, you're going to have a very deep cut in your hand and you have to avoid that completely. So now just start chopping the cashews properly. Spread them out. Now the mint. Add the mint in the cashews and chop it with it. This will give the cashews a nice minty flavor. And this is what all the leading restaurants say, herb cashews, minty cashews. This is what they do. They just apply their mind and then they add a few things together. This is done. Now what we'll do with the almonds is, we won't finely chop them, but we shall slice them really fine. So individually, take the almond and slice them. So when basically you're slicing the almonds really fine, what's happening is it's getting shaved. So that's what you want. It's very dangerous when you're dealing with dry fruit. This is done. The remaining shall go as whole. A bit of fresh coriander. Keep this on the side. Now turn the coriander, roll it up like a cigar, and finally chop it. Not too much, only around a tablespoon of finely chopped fresh coriander. This is done, and now we shall dish the recipe out. So you don't need this over here, so keep it on the side. Wash your hands once, rinse them properly. What I've cooked today is for at least 6 people, but I'll dish out for only 2 people right now in front of you. Take the lid off, keep it on the side for now. Okay, so first what we do is we dish it out. Take the chicken on the side. You don't want the chicken to break, so I'll keep it up over here like this. This is how people basically serve biryani and things of rice in Pakistan. So now, just slowly and gradually like this, mix the rice just lightly. Why? Because there's a lot of flavor down in the pan. Oh, it smells so nice. Now put the rice. First goes the rice. I'll move the board on the side for now. Just like tilt it over here. Keep this over here. Now bring the chicken. So with the leg goes the thigh. Give it a lid. Keep this on the side. You don't need this anymore. Now, first, take the cashews, try making a ring around it. A little bit of cashews on the top, not too much. Then you add a little bit of coriander. Then the almonds. Take the bay leaf, spread out in front, and then you add the raisins. Wipe your hands once. And as you can see, today's recipe is ready. I hope you liked today's episode. I'll meet you in another episode of Indus Cuisine. Keep watching my show, and I'm signing out today. Take care. Bye-bye.